Yesterday, Dennis Prager, the fabulous host who's been on air on radio and television for years, and also the founder of Prager University, testified in the United States Senate before the Subcommittee on the Constitution. He basically was talking about the assault on free speech being conducted by the social media companies that we hear about all the time. In particular, he was focusing on the PragerU YouTubes that have been either blocked or subject to a screening by YouTube that limits the number of people who can see what that PragerU is all about. I'll tell you more about PragerU in a moment, but first I want to play just a brief clip of what Dennis Prager had to say yesterday in the Senate.
YouTube has restricted access to 56 of our 325-minute videos and to other videos we produce. Restricted means families that have a filter to avoid pornography and violence cannot see that video. It also means that no school or library can show that video. Google has even restricted access to a video on the Ten Commandments, as we have seen. Yes, the Ten Commandments. We have repeatedly asked Google why our videos are restricted. No explanation is ever given. In fact, never in American history has there been as strong a threat to freedom of speech as there is today. Before addressing this, however, I think it important that you know a bit about me and the organization I co-founded, Prager University, PragerU, as it is often referred to. Having taught Jewish history at Brooklyn College, written a book on anti-Semitism, and fought Jew hatred my whole life, I thank God for living in America. It breaks my heart that a vast number of young Americans have not only not been taught how lucky they are to be Americans, but have been taught either how unlucky they are or how ashamed they should be. It breaks my heart for them because contempt for one's country leaves a terrible hole in one's soul, and because ungrateful people always become unhappy and angry people. And it breaks my heart for America, because no good country can survive when its people have contempt for it.
Folks, that was a stellar clip from Dennis Prager. And if you go to our website, americacanwetalk.org, there's a link to the full portion, all the remarks that he submitted. You know, Dennis Prager gave the written remarks to the Senate ahead of time and the full link to what he had to say. I just want to, in today's First Five, talk about how important this is that Dennis Prager is fighting. Well, his remarks before the United States Senate were really profound, as you heard, and he talked about, in particular, what the YouTube issue was that he was particularly focusing on that day, and that was there was a PragerU video about the Ten Commandments, which YouTube designated as one of the videos that they had to limit access to. So a tiny portion of the listeners to PragerU's YouTubes will not be able to hear the video on the Ten Commandments. And they had, in this hearing, expressed, well, what is it? What could be possibly have hit the pornography flagging on the part of YouTube that you would block out the Ten Commandments? And he made reference to, well, I mean, we do have in there, you shall not kill, but we're not in favor of killing. We're talking about not killing. He was really eloquent describing how absurd it was, and among the many other eloquent remarks he made, he ran through a list of people who have done PragerU videos. If you've never watched them, I urge you to watch all of them. They're usually 5 minutes or less, focus on one particular topic, and they really are well-informed, insightful, often people you've heard of, famous people. He's had a Secretary General of NATO, a former Prime Minister of Norway, of Canada, Spain. He's had Charles Krauthammer, all sorts of people, but his most eloquent remarks were saved, as you heard toward the end, making the point that there is just profound hatred for America and for the ideals of America that seem to be expressed by the willingness of YouTube to limit free speech. And he did say, and I'll close my First Five by saying this, he couldn't be more right. The idea that these social media giants think that the answer to things that they don't want you focusing on, like the importance of religion as the founding of America, the focus of Judeo-Christian ideas in the founding of America, the meaning of the Ten Commandments. When you have social media giants deciding that America really shouldn't hear this and they should be screened out and not available to church groups and other kinds of groups that may have chosen this screening by YouTube, you really have people at YouTube screening out important ideas Americans should understand, and even on a more core level, you have those people thinking they are the deciders of what Americans can hear. It is a profound challenge to our commitment as Americans to freedom of speech. Great Prager testimony in the United States Senate yesterday. Listen to all of it and encourage your senator to support, at the very least, getting after these social media giants. Some people are advocating breaking up these social media giants. I think it probably couldn't be a bad idea, but that's a big and down the road issue. The issue now is to recognize there is a genuine threat to free speech in America, and God bless Dennis Prager for speaking up about it.